Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendra. And this is a comedy podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back with your favorite snacks and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Blood, Guts, and Booze. We hope you all had a great week. How about you? Did you have a good week, Kendra?
It was alright. You know, pretty boring. Corona.
Yeah, doing nothing during the COVID. So yesterday, March 20th, was not only the first day of spring, but it was National Extraterrestrial Abduction Day.
I thought the 21st was the first day of spring, Olivia.
No, according to Facebook, it was yesterday.
Okay, but what about other than Facebook? Do you believe everything on the internet?
No, but
Read a book.
It popped up saying 1 year, 1 year ago.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, in light of this National Day of Awareness, I have decided to do an alien story this week.
Quick Google search says she's right.
Yeah. I like plants. I know when it's spring.
Whatever.
With the 80 plants in my house, I know.
Get on with your green men.
So, I know we are a comedy podcast, but sometimes we do have to take things a little more seriously, especially when they come to a person's own personal experience. And the story that I'm going to read today is from somebody that I met off the subreddit Alien Abductions. And all they ask is that we give them the utmost respect and seriousness during this traumatic experience, because it's very, very damaging on the people that are involved in any alien abduction case.
Yeah, Olivia texted me earlier today telling me before I came over today that I needed to behave myself for once.
Yeah. So, a few quick things, just a little in-depth on alien abductions. There's a lot of controversy over them. And alien abductions and UFO sightings... Ooh, I jumped where I was reading.
We can edit that out.
My bad. Okay. I'm gonna restart here.
Okay.
A few quick things before we get going. There's a lot of controversy over aliens, abductions, and UFOs. There's also a lot of conspiracy theories for any reasoning as to why it happens. So illusions, time travel, they are gods from other worlds, and many other conspiracy theories.
Or, you know, that it's just simply a balloon.
True. Balloon, yeah.
Can't forget that.
But others, like government and medical professionals, have other things to say on these accounts, where most of them involve a cognitive reason for why somebody is making these claims. So they think it could be something more like a mental illness, but you don't know. Like, a doctor doesn't know you better than you know yourself, right? Like, you know if you've experienced something like this, or, you know what I mean? Like...
But hasn't there been military men that have basically proven that they really seen them?
1,000%. There has been government officials who have even made claims that aliens are real. So screw these medical professionals and their advice.
Like, I remember there was something about military pilots seeing them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
There was a big thing. I watched that.
There's Area 51 for a reason. There's aliens. They're real.
That's why I said balloon.
Exactly.
Area 51, Roscoe, New Mexico.
Well, two different places.
Whatever, same thing. I don't know.
So these accounts are sometimes called abduction phenomenons or UFO abductions. Claims are made by people who have had mental or physical experimentations done by being held, kidnapped, abducted by otherworldly beings.
Does that include the probing ones?
Yeah.
It's the only inappropriate comment I'm making. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be like any physical experimentations that have been performed on you. Most abduction accounts include the capture, which would be your examination or procedures.
Beam of light, bringing you up.
Yeah, any confrontation or communication. So whether it's telepathy, or they actually can physically speak. Possibly a tour of the aircraft, if I guess you're lucky enough to get a tour.
I mean, if I'm going to be abducted, I want a tour.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to use the bathroom. And you could have like a sense of time loss. For instance, it could be anything to do with like minutes, hours, days, weeks, or months. Just like in the Betty and Barney Hill case and many other cases that have been involved, like abduction cases, you lose time, so you wake up hours later or minutes later, not knowing what had just happened to you.
It always just makes me think of the guy that's the farmer on Men in Black.
Yeah, very similar to that, kind of. And then you have your return back to your location, which could be your home, car, woods, etc. And theophany, I think I'm saying that right, which is
Theophany.
Theophany. Which is a love or a high for a godlike abductor.
Okay, so it's spelled Theophany.
I tried to sound it out right there.
Just for anyone that wants to try and look it up themselves.
Theophany. Which this gives you a similar feeling to being induced by medical grade drugs, or have a metaphysical change, or even like Stockholm syndrome like feels.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. And then you have the aftermath that you now have to face with once returning home, which this could include many damaging mental or physical effects from this life-changing experience. So, which I'll get more into, you'll see that a lot of those signs do play effect in the story that I'm about to tell you, which is why we have to take it as a very serious story.
Yes, ma'am.
But there's also 7 kinds of close encounters. A lot of people think there's just 4, but there's actually 7. So you have your first kind, which is a sighting of a UFO within 500 feet or 150 meters.
Okay.
You have your second kind, which is where the UFO leaves evidence behind. So that could be burn marks or chemical marks in the ground, indents, animals acting up, physical discomfort. A lot of people have like their dogs and cats freaking out when UFO activity is nearby. So then we have the third kind, which is where you're close enough to see something residing within the UFO. You can see like the faces of the I guess pilots, right? Pilots.
Serious,
sorry.
Pilots would make sense. They're flying a spaceship. Pilots.
Yeah, exactly. Pilots.
You fly, you pilot.
It just took me a second to think of the word, that's all.
By the way, she's wearing an alien shirt.
Well, no, it says My Imaginary Friends, and it's got like a dwarf, Bigfoot, an eyeball with a birthday hat, a unicorn, and an alien, and then it's a little dude. But it says they think I'm cool.
Yeah, that's because imaginary things are the only things that think she's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, so
It's the ghosts.
what's the fourth?
So the fourth kind involves being taken or experimented on inside of your home or the UFO/craft. The fifth kind is direct communication between you and the alien. So that would be the telepathy or just talking. Hey, what's up? How's it going? The sixth kind is the death of a human or an animal associated with a UFO sighting.
So like when they killed the cow.
Yes. The seventh kind is the creation of or hybrid. The creation of a hybrid, which was done by sexual or artificial procedures.
Okay, I have 2 questions before you start this person's story.
Yes.
1, which encounter is it?
Their encounter, I would say, would be first, second, third, and fourth.
Okay.
And possibly fifth.
Second question. where do crop circles fall in this?
Crop circles would be considered the second kind, because that would be leaving like an indent on the ground or a mark of some sort, burn mark,
Okay.
etc. Which is probably the most common way to see UFO activity.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is most people say crop circles, so I was like,
Yeah.
What is it?
I know lately, over the last like couple years, UFO and alien sightings have just skyrocketed. I think maybe it's just similar to like how the Earth is healing because of COVID. A lot more things are starting to appear. I've heard of a lot of other sightings of other cryptids, stuff like that have been seen more because less people are out. So it's almost like they feel like they have the ability now to show themselves.
Like that one town where the deer started taking over it because everybody was on lockdown and the deer just wandered in.
Yeah.
Weren't happy because they were like, you know what? Screw you. You took over my world. I'm going to take over yours now.
Well,
Nature's taking it back, Mother Earth is taking herself back.
It's also like, I guess it also depends too on like the views and of you listening to somebody's personal experience and actually having your own, or even just like seeing them like on a YouTube thing, right? Like it's whether or not like the intentions of those aliens or otherworldly beings are good or bad.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't necessarily think that. First off, I think that aliens exist, and I feel like anyone who
1000%
thinks that they don't is ignorant to the fact that we could be alone in this entire universe, considering we're basically just a blip in it. Like we've barely made it very deep into our own, Milky Way part of the galaxy. But at the same time, I feel like no matter the multiple experiences I hear, I feel like mostly an alien would just be curious because it's a different life. Like, I feel like if we finally discovered another planet, I was a spaceman, whatever, and I discovered other life in this entire world, my first thought would not be evil or, befriending. It would be, want to know what happens here.
Curiosity.
Curiosity.
Like the fascination, like also just being intrigued by something like that in general, and the scientific component behind it as well. Like if we discovered a new planet, whether I was a scientist, astronaut, or whoever, I would want to learn more about their world, their culture.
Mm-hmm. Like how we are so in tune to want to learn about past culture on Earth.
Exactly. It'd be like learning a new history,
mm-hmm.
right? Like it's, like it's kind of exciting to learn new things like that. Especially because, like you said, there's no way we can be the only things out there at all.
I mean, they've basically almost proven that there used to be water on Mars. So did there millions of years ago used to be things that lived there? Maybe dinosaurs lived there. We don't know.
Also, from what I've seen and read, 3 pyramid-shaped objects and similar.
The pyramid thing.
Similar, like, sit-in positions in almost the exact same location on Mars as it is on Earth, because the Pyramid of Giza, they actually line up with Orion's belt.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be easy for another planet to make similar pyramids.
Learning about the pyramids on Earth is a hell of a rabbit hole to go down to, guys, if you want to. Oh my god.
I'll get into it, man. That's for another day.
Yeah, it's a hell of a rabbit hole.
I love me some Egyptian.
I suggest Ancient Aliens. It's a decent show, and they really get into it.
And you know what? That show, I know I shouldn't believe it. Like, some of the stuff, because it seems a little...
out there?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but other things just make so much sense. And it's, like, crazy how much it makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, we are trailing.
Yes.
As we always do. Let's
let
me hear
this
amazing person's encounter.
Yes. So I'm also going to read it in first person. This is a story. They gave me their permission to read it on air and to use their name. So this story is about a person named Aiden. And like I said, I'll be reading it in first person. So here we go. My encounters started on the night of a foggy full moon back in December, with a UFO sighting just outside of the window of my house. Little side note, I would consider this a close encounter of the first kind because you can see it from a distance.
Okay.
Just because I know
Thank
you asked.
For educating me.
Just because I know you asked.
I need the education.
Which ones I thought it was.
You know the spookies.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. Just let you go now.
Okay. It grazed on over by the tree line nearby. It was this big rectangular cylinder that was pitch black, and I mean the darkest black object I had ever seen. This UFO gave me some very present feelings, like it was out there specifically to watch me. Side note again, I would consider that part close encounter of the second kind because those are the physical feelings that you start,
Okay.
you know, like maybe feeling on edge, being watched.
Anxiety.
1,000%.
Okay.
A week later, I woke up during the night to a tall figure lurking at the end of my room. I couldn't move, and they were just staring at me. No, they were staring through me. A quick side note, my family and I are also a bit clairvoyant, so I have a pretty good sense at reading the feelings and energies that are around me. But I could not read this gray. It was just silent, mute, almost like a computer simulation, just standing there, staring. Another
Fourth.
side note, I would think this is a close encounter of the fourth kind because you have that physical contact with the otherworldly being.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I don't think I was supposed to wake up. All I got were these feelings that I knew me waking up was a complete accident. And I don't think the gray had planned on being seen by me either. But it didn't end there though. Maybe around 5 a.m., I woke up to the most terrifying nightmare. I actually wanted to kill myself when I woke up in the real world. It was just one of those nightmares that royally fucks you up. This nightmare started that I woke up and I got up to go look in my mirror. There was a long, skinny, triangular strip on the top of my head that was shaved with a shaped suture. No, this was a cut done by something more high-tech than a scalpel. This was more like the cut from a laser. I think my brain was subconsciously trying to tell me in my dream that something traumatic had just happened to me. I can still remember some of the things, but most of it seems to be covered up or blurred from my memory by now. I don't think it was anything as severe as an impromptu vivisection, but something stressful and damaging enough to leave some sort of an impression or memory on my psyche. Thankfully, I am now in a much better state of mind than I was when all this happened. I have an amazing supportive family who had helped me through this extremely upsetting time of my life. I haven't seen the grays since, but I have this uneasy feeling that this encounter wasn't the first experience I've had. I believe it has happened on 2 other occasions. I don't have memories from these times, just strange feelings that I can recall on, similar to the ones I had that night. I've never physically seen any marks on myself, other than the memories I had from my dream. But my mother had these red dots on her hands, in a square-like pattern, when she was pregnant with me. I'm not sure if that meant I was chosen before birth for these visits, but I'm not the first person in my family who has had experiences either. Maybe it's a family lineage thing, and as my aunt has also had a lot of experience with aliens, but tries to shrug it off as something more ghostly. So I want to thank Aiden for letting me share their story and experience with everyone. I'm also very glad to hear that your mental health is in a much better state, because I cannot imagine going through something that's stressful and traumatic.
Yeah, me either.
I, not gonna lie, I probably would have shit myself clean, because sometimes I can't even handle a bump, and it's my cat, so...
But yeah, you sit here and listen to me tell you terrible things about the world.
And I talk about the paranormal, and I love it.
This podcast is not for you. Get out.
Yeah.
Mine now.
But just to be, like, feel so violated in your own space, which I can't imagine that's how you felt at all. And especially having something watch you and possibly even do things to you. But like I said, it does sound like they experienced a lot of the first to fifth kind.
Yeah.
I know I pointed out a couple of those within the story, which is a lot out of, if you think about it, that's a lot out of the 7 experiences that people can have.
And like you said, it might run in his family too, right?
Yeah, like if it's not necessarily like...
I'm sorry, I assumed him.
Oh. Sorry. But like...
Them?
With...
Their family. Sorry. Pronouns.
But it could also be like, not necessarily like a hereditary thing, but almost. You know, like they were chosen.
Maybe their family way back in the day had something to do with aliens.
Connections.
And they've just chosen.
And that could be why you were having these, like this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Or experiences, as you had said, you think this has happened multiple times. You know, and we really hope you don't have to go through anything like that ever again, and that life brings you as much peace and happiness after that extremely upsetting experience.
And joy, so much joy.
So if you or anyone you know that has had experiences with abductions or UFOs, and you feel like you haven't been heard, or that no one believes you, we believe you.
We will be your voice.
We are both, you know, strong believers in aliens and alien-related UFOs.
Olivia a bit more, but, you know.
But
I will
if
listen.
you feel like you haven't been heard by anybody, it doesn't matter if it's family, friends, and your experiences are, you know, really damaging your health, please, like, email us, whether you want it on air or just to vent, you know.
And that's not just alien cases. If you have some sort of criminal experience too, or any sort of ghost something experience, just, you know, that
anything related to our podcast, like
you want brought up and talked about, you know, let us know. Hit us an email. We will look into putting it into a future episode.
Yeah, and
not saying it'll be the week after. You know, be patient with us. We already have some that we're covering. You know.
You know,
but let us be your voices.
Yeah, and, you know, take care of your mental and your physical health. You know, we need you and you need us. Like, we are here to help each other, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to whether it's, like you said, something like this, anything else that's, like, you know, topic related. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you very much to Aiden for letting me hear your story.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it.
And we really hope that we did it justice. And if not, you know, we will fix it.
Yes, we will. Because we wanted to share your story and, like Kendra said, give it the justice that it deserves. So...
Same time, we're still learning, so,
yeah.
You know.
So we hope we did that. And again, another thanks to Aiden. And thank you, our fans, for listening to us and tuning in every week. We've seen our numbers grow over the last 2 weeks, and we're actually pretty shocked at how good and fast it's moving. And we appreciate that you guys are sticking with us.
All right, so tune in next week for some true crime with me.
Yeah, a gruesomely true crime case by Kendra. Woo.
All right.
See you later, you spooky little fucks. Bye.
Bye, Boo Crew.
Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and like, share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.